I'm out here working on the Hummer again. Finally, like a decent day. It's really hot actually, but at least it's not raining. So my plan for today, I'd like to get the car to play some music, even if it's just through the door speakers. So what I'm going to do is lengthen those speaker wires that I was talking about. So I'll show you guys those wires. They're right here. These guys need to be lengthened just enough to get up to this amplifier right here. They plug in right on this side, so they're just barely almost there, because the amplifier that was powering them was situated right here, and now we're changing it to this amp being the one that powers them. So I'm gonna lengthen it. Don't have any speaker wire, but if you look over there, the subwoofers do have some speaker wire, and that is not adequately sized for subwoofers, so I'm going to be changing that out with 8 gauge now that we're sending these subs some real power. So I'll do that later, but for now I'm going to hack up the speaker wire coming out of those subs and use it for my lengthening over here. So I'm going to do that, and after that we should be pretty much hooked up. Once I hook up the RCAs in the back and then wire that to the equalizer, should be ready to play music through the door speakers. So I have hooked up a few more connections. I have the RCAs coming out of this thing, and I also have the remote turn on that I'm about to hook up. So I just have to splice this wire down here and hook it up to this right here, which this actually goes to this relay here, which is interesting that they put a relay in. But what this relay does is it has a constant power and a constant ground. The brown is the ground and red is the constant power, and then this yellow wire right here is actually a switched wire. Or actually no, the red is the switched wire, which comes from like the ignition. So what happens is this relay is powered but it's not on, but when it senses a signal from a different lead on here, it'll actually turn it on and allow the high current to run through, and you can actually signal it with like a low voltage signal. So it's interesting. I guess they used it because they wanted to power things in the car with the remote turn on. So I use that as well. It powers the equalizer and also the DVD player in this car. So that's another cool thing. But I'm gonna try to take this, and I took the screen off so I wouldn't wreck the screen, but if I can put it up here backwards like this, I think I can get to all my connections a little bit better, see what I'm looking at, as well as have it out of my way down here so I can tuck some of these wires in and make it look a little bit neater. So we're going to see exactly what we don't need here, and if we don't need it, we're going to get rid of it. We need that, but yeah, so I'm going to work on that, and I also have to start tapping the reverse input. So I'm going to try to find a reverse input somewhere here. Maybe it's in the shifter. I doubt it. I could find it down in the fuse block down there, so we'll see if I can find a reverse indicated wire. I might have to look online. So there are a few perks of having your dad as a mechanic. One being he works for GM, so we can get some sweet diagrams and software and stuff that most people can't have access to. So he's a GM employee, so he has access to things like this right here. So this shows me that under the dash on the BCM, which is the body control module, there's this connector right here, and this connector has, a bunch of pins in it, and it tells me that pin F, which is light green, is circuit number 24, backup lamp supply voltage. So as long as I can go under and find the C5 connector and then find pin F, which is a light green wire, that should be my rear camera supply voltage for the head unit, so that it'll know to start looking for an input from the rear camera. So I'm gonna go try to probe for that wire, and we'll see if we can find it. So what I've done here is I use my trusty test light once again, and I plugged him into this light green wire that I found down here, and upon probing that wire, the light turned on, and I am in reverse. So I put the e-brake on, the keys on, and the car's in reverse. So if you watch this, I'll quickly shift the car into park. That light turns off. I'd shift it back into reverse, but I have to hit the brake at the same time, and I couldn't possibly hold the camera. But that right there means that that's a reverse signal input. It only comes on when the car is in reverse. So therefore, that should work for us. So I'm going to go ahead and tap into that wire right after I make sure it doesn't turn on and drive and things like that. I just got to make sure of that. Once I find that out, we'll be all set. I'm going to tap that wire into the back of the head unit, and then it'll know exactly when we're in reverse. Then it's just time to route the wires for the camera. Right here in the Hummer is the backup camera. I've been working pretty hard to get this thing in place. I decided that instead of putting it by the license plate, because that was going to be too much work, I'd have to go up through here, which this comes through the headliner, and I'd have to run through this little section right here and into there, all the way through this panel right here, and then come out somewhere on the other side. Seemed like a lot of work to me, so I just decided instead I'm gonna run it along the side of the wall here. Getting bit by bugs again. Run it along this little section here, and then come over this way with it, and right across here underneath this panel, down snake through right there, and pop it out right here. I'll have some zip ties in there in the future, but as for right now, I just had it fired up and it seems to be working pretty well. So all this backup camera needs to run is a 12-volt switch source, which is this wire right here, the orange, the red that goes to the orange, that's the switched, and it needs a ground as well, which is that one right there that has the alligator clamp on it. So I hook those two up, and I also plug the brown wire into the back of the head unit up here. And so if you look, when I turn the car on, so we've got our head unit right here, and when I go ahead and put the key in and turn it on, the head unit turns on, and then I'll wait for it to boot up here. Camera's about to die, hopefully I got enough juice. And I'll hit OK, and then when I put this thing in reverse, you will see the backup camera initialize, and that is what's behind us. So pretty cool. Seems to be working pretty good, so I'm just gonna have to finalize the wiring, and then we'll be all set to run our backup camera. Put the car in park. And that's that. So that's as far as I'm gonna get tonight. It's getting dark and buggy again, but definitely more progress on this car tomorrow. So since I ran out of speaker wire, and I know I needed to take out these subs anyway to replace the wiring with 8-gauge, since we're gonna run some actual wattage to these subwoofers now, they're gonna need some beefy wire. So I decided to take these out so that I can salvage the wiring that's in here, because I'm out of speaker wiring. So I'm going to take these guys out as soon as I find all the screws, and then we'll be all set. So I've got one speaker out right here, and you can see the wiring is in the box here, and I had it all liquid nails in the corner so we didn't leak any air out of this sealed box. And so now I'm going to proceed to getting the other one done, and we can remove these connections here to free up some wire that we can use for our other install purposes. So I'm going to proceed to get this other sub out here, and then we'll be able to get in there. Alright, so what I've done is finalize all the connections on the back of the head unit, and I just rested it up there. Back here, I fully lengthened all the wires I needed to lengthen to run to this amplifier. So that's all set. And I wired the backup camera all down by the floorboards here and up in the dash and into the back. So as of right now, the backup camera works, and I was just firing it up. And if we turn the key on, we'll see that the head unit turns on. And I just hooked up the actual door speakers. So we are gonna connect to this thing and play some music. So that rear amplifier back there, as you can see, is on. The light is on top, and there's also that little purple light in there as well. So you know that that's on. Hit OK. Bluetooth ready. Start playing something from my phone. We'll connect to it. There we go. So that is the door speakers. They don't sound fantastic, but we still have to tune them. See if we can get a little more volume. Alright, so we've got music. Sounds really good compared to what it did, because when it got here, those speakers would barely play. So now we have Bluetooth audio, and I still have to tune the amp for these speakers as well. But yeah, so we'll go through the process of that as well. But yeah, so far so good. Got these two 10-inch subwoofers all wired up. I used 8-gauge wire here, beefed it up a little bit just because we're throwing a little bit of extra power at it now. But I have them wired in parallel. So this speaker configuration has a dual 2-ohm voice coil. So therefore, wired in parallel, it's going to be wired down to 1 ohm. So each of these will be wired at 1 ohm and going into the 2 channels, or coming out of the 2 channels rather, into these subs. And then I have the wires coming out of here. This is sort of the budget way to do it. I'm just going to use a bunch of caulk on the inside, make sure we don't have any air leaks, and then we'll be all set. We're just going to hook these up to the amp once the amplifier's in, and I got to do the wiring on the other big JLW7 sub as well. But these two are pretty much done. I'm about to screw them back in. So after getting the subs in, I proceeded to look at the instructions and, well, the spec sheet of the amplifier, and I realized that these subs were wired incorrectly for the amp. The amp only will safely play down to 2 ohm load, and I had these wired for 1 ohm each, so that probably would have sent the amp into protect mode and it wouldn't have worked. So I had to take the subs back out and rewire them in series as opposed to in parallel, which would give me a 4 ohm load per sub, because they're dual 2 ohm voice coils. I'll show you this little diagram I was looking at. So this diagram right here that's in the center, this one is a parallel wiring diagram. So there's 2 paths for the electricity to flow, and it has to flow through both. So that's parallel. That's going to give you a 1 ohm load with dual 2 ohm voice coils, and this down here is series. You have 1 wire coming into the positive and a wire on that side going from negative to the positive on the other side, and then your other amp wire goes to the negative on the other side of the voice coil. So that's series. That'll give you a 4 ohm load. So that's what we ended up doing. We got 2 subwoofers, each wired at 4 ohms. So the amplifier should be able to put out 600 watts times 2 channels, 1 for each sub, and we should be okay. I multimetered it, so we should be all set. So now I just need to install the amps in the car so I can test these things out.